Onika, what is your most annoying trigger?
Honestly, when I was a kid, it was when my little sister would touch my stuff. Like when she took my dress once and she sold it. Like,
shout outs to your sister. I owe her $100 right now because
she used to sell my stuff on the black market. That was so annoying. And she could look at me in my face and say she didn't do it.
Oh my goodness.
So annoying. So the most annoying trigger would be my little sister about like at 16.
Dysh.
Hey y'all, it's Onika
And J.R.
and you are dishing with Dainty Dish. How you doing, J.R.?
I'm doing fantastic. I just got back from hot yoga, so you know I'm just chilling. I'm just kicking it on this lovely day.
That's why you're lounging like Prince Pasha on the couch
Yeah,
when I got here.
That's exactly what happened. Other than that, I'm just kicking it, just working, doing dodgeball and doing my comedy thing. So yeah, what's up with you?
Oh my gosh, I had my first mental health days back on track. Like things are going the way they're supposed to be. I had my first session with my new therapist and she was cool. I cried a bit, you know what I mean? I got some emotions out, some feelings. We talked about things that were triggering me in my life, which is the conversation we're going to be having today. And it was really good. It was really cathartic. I've gone all summer without it and I really feel like I needed it. So class is going well as well. Work is work. That is what it is. It's a paycheck. So I'm not going to get into that too much, but today, we're doing a little something different. We have a guest with us to discuss our topics. Gina-Simone, say hello.
What's up, guys? Thanks for having me. It's a literal pleasure to be here talking on this platform with you guys. So it's an honor.
Thank you.
Thanks for being here.
Yeah, thank you.
So we asked that question in the beginning. What's your most annoying trigger?
Triggers, the dangerous thing, those things. I've got so many triggers, too many, honestly, but triggers. For me, generally, people trigger me. I think that's where I react.
People.
The hardest.
I was trying to figure out what my trigger was, and you just, that's it. Right? It's
people.
Yep.
That's usually the first thing. That's the first thing I think about somebody. I think about a situation. Like, this is the first thing that comes to my head. And it's dangerous if you don't know how you're gonna deal with it, how your reaction to that trigger, if you don't have your, mental health toolbox, or if you don't know how to suppress whatever that negative trigger is going to be, it can be a really dangerous thing for you. But definitely people who have to be in my life, people that you can't get away from, like family, coworkers. Walking into the, I can see you, Julian, nodding your head. Yeah, we've all got people like that in our lives, but walking into the workplace. But I think for me, specifically family, people that you can't get away from like that, you have to, either you live with them or they're parents, so you're constantly in contact with them, a brother, a sister, a cousin. And it's just really trying to figure out how you're going to deal with that. Either you deal with the person or you put up a wall and block them. But triggers, there's so many. There's too many, really. For me, people's the number one, though.
People's the number one.
Yeah.
We all know Papa Dainty triggers me. Like, that's my number one.
What is it?
My Papa Dainty. Yeah.
Papa Dainty.
It's your fault.
It's Julian thinks that we're calling him Julian today. Whatever. JR, whatever.
Call it whatever you want.
Call it whatever you want. At
No,
this point, it doesn't matter. Everybody knows
cares?
he's Julian. But yeah, JR knows that I think it was a lot more when I was younger, and I think that the coping mechanism I used with him was to just disappear, was to ghost on him. You know what I mean?
I do the same thing.
And I'm trying to get better with how I cope with my triggers. I'm trying to more face them,
right,
instead of running away from them.
Sure.
Some of the emotions, triggering emotions. I want to deal with those emotions instead of running away from those emotions. Just with people, you want to deal with people instead of running away from people. Communicate with them and tell them,
exactly,
this is what you're doing that is so triggering.
Exactly.
To
and I
me.
think once you're at the point of running away, it's obviously, or it's most likely because you haven't found that comfortable space to have that conversation with that person, to say XYZ is bothering me. I don't feel comfortable in the space you and I create together. And we need to resolve that somehow. I think it's really hard to tell somebody you don't like this about them, you irritate me in this way, and then still try and maintain a friendly, loving relationship.
It's not hard for JR.
Oh, no.
JR's the exception.
It depends. No, it depends. No, because there's situations where, I've completely just walked
Not
away.
with me.
Yeah.
I've walked away and I'm like, I don't even need this in my life.
Yeah.
And there's some situations where like you're not going anywhere. So in order for me to keep you in my life, I gotta be me. And with Onika and I, it's like I'm not gonna tolerate any nonsense. Like when you come to my house, your energy needs to be on a specific level. Don't take it to a 12 because I'm not tolerating a 12. And if it's at a 12, I'm going to bring you down to a 7.
Exactly.
Immediately. Like I'm not going to tolerate
He does
it.
it on the phone too. It's kind of cool. How he moves, how he like flows
Get
the
your
room.
life right
like,
now.
No, because I mean, I've known, like, there's one thing I've learned, like, working in hospitality back in the day where one of the owners of the restaurant said, you have to smile when you answer the phone.
Right.
Right?
They can hear it.
Because they can hear
Yeah.
it. So when I answer the phone, I smile, but then I'm calm. And so when some people, they're on 12, and the minute I'm smiling and I'm saying, hey, how are you doing? Is everything good? They immediately, like, you could hear it in their voice. They wanted to go 12, but they can't. They're like, no, I can't. I gotta come down to 7.
You're absolutely right
And
about that.
and
Yeah.
I love that's something that I've practiced because I just can't. I'm a kind of person that can't have all that wild energy around me. I gotta like decompress and be calm. So. Yeah,
I was pretty calm when I walked in the room today. I was calm.
Because that high energy triggers
It's
me.
too
Like
much.
I don't
That's
like
work
it.
energy. That's
It's
like walking to work. I'm like, hey, how you doing?
Yeah.
Like, that's left for different places.
Yeah.
I worked at a place once where I'm a bubbly person, and especially when in my early 20s, I got a job that I really loved. I was so ecstatic to be there. The money was on point. So I was all around just happy to be there. I've been working since I was 14, so I know a shitty job when I come across one. So this is great. And all of the people working around me, they were like what you consider old timers. They'd been there for a while. So that those rose-colored glasses had long faded. So they were all like, what's with this chick? And one of them actually gave me a pin that said something to the effect of, when you're smiling too much, the boss wonders what's going on. And I was like, are you serious? You're really trying to like dampen my shine? You're trying to dampen my glow? I mean, I think that takes it a little too far. And again, that's people just trying to put out your light.
Yeah, I call that the mortgage status. Like the people who have mortgages, like, and they just can't afford them. They typically they go to work and they hate their job and they're only there because they gotta pay the mortgage. Those people, they're toxic. You gotta stay away from them.
Exactly.
Like the people that like, they got a mortgage and they're just like, they're paying it off. They're having their time. They're doing okay. They're lovely to be around. Or the people that are happy with their lives. But those other people, no. They're like, oh, if I lose my job, or if I quit my job today, I can't pay for my house. Those people. No.
And it's like, that's
Don't go
the
around
thing
those
too.
people.
It's not even just the people, it's their environment and places
Right.
that are triggering to them.
Exactly.
Like that house that they have to pay the mortgage
Right,
on, that they
right.
walk into every day and
Yeah.
they're like, oh my gosh, I still owe, $500,000 on this mortgage. That place is triggering. Like,
Yeah.
That workplace
that is not a happy
where-
space for you.
Yeah, that workplace where I'm supposed to smile when I answer the phone, but I hate being here. And here's this chick over here smiling like she just won the lottery.
Yeah.
Screw her.
Yeah,
my
so
situation.
places can be really triggering. I don't know, for me, like the Durham region is triggering. Like when I go down there, I get itchy AF. Like I just want to like just get out of there. It's just a trigger because I've had my crazy there. Like that's where I've been crazy in every part of the Durham region, every
corner.
crevices, every corner, every street. Like I've gone nuts in that place. So like the same thing with the beaches. That's like a really triggering place for me. Like I haven't been there in 2 years. Like I won't go. I want to go.
The
sit
beach
in
is
the
my
sun.
home, girls. I'll show you my side of the beach.
You show your
Don't worry.
side, yeah.
We'll smooth that all
so
out.
I just like, there are just like certain places for me that can be really mental health like wise. It can be really, really triggering. The hospital. I don't know if you have any experience with that, but
Not on the mental health front, and it's actually, you and I were having a conversation actually a few days ago about hospitals, and I wanted to sort of jump in and say I haven't had a mental health experience at that particular hospital that we were talking about, but when I was there for a few days. I had a lovely time. So it just goes to show, right?
The food is great.
Well, and actually, I hated the food, but the service, like it changed. I didn't realize like hospitals were that on point and with like medication and really treating you like you need to. But I was there for something else. But it was just interesting because it changed my opinion on hospitals. I thought they were
because head up to the
nasty,
17th
wretched
floor.
places. Yeah, it wasn't the 17th. But
You'll see what's up. That's what the hospital is
there's
really
that
about.
contrast.
Yeah, different experiences.
Right.
Yeah.
And J.R., going back to what you were saying is like you can shut a person off if their energy is not flowing right. You're like, no,
Oh,
out
I
the
have
door.
to.
Yeah.
I have to.
No, and I
Like,
get that.
yeah.
But the flip side of that too is like I've ruined many relationships, friendly relationships, just because my tolerance level wasn't there. But it was more like it's me, not them. Like I needed to allow them. I'm a pretty giving person. I'm understanding. I think I'm not too judgmental. I think I am. But so I like to give people the space. I know I'm all kinds of crazy too.
That's our segment. That's our segment. All kinds of crazy. That's hilarious. You said that.
See, I was meant to be here.
You're here. You're here.
I have arrived.
You've arrived.
But yeah, and I mean, I look back and I even know in the moment that I'm losing something. Whatever the thing is that's triggering me, I need to work on that rather than completely dismantling or shutting down this relationship, because there's more beneficial aspects to it than just, and again, it's me, not them. I mean, it is a little bit of them, but I should be able to sort of, bring that to the table, try and work through that.
Figure out how to cope with it.
Right, exactly, coping.
What about memories? I find
Yes. Yeah.
Memories.
Sure. Yeah.
And memories go, it all connects like to people too, but memories can be really, really triggering for me personally, just like with some of the things that I've gone through. And I don't know, like, if you want to share, Simone, any of your memories.
Yeah. And what I want to say to that is it's just interesting because I'm talking about people. And then as you say memories, my reaction, like the trigger, my trigger, and then how I react to that trigger is different for memories. And then it's different for people. For people, I kind of go inside, go in my shell, and I kind of just cut you off. Like, you're not there. But memories, maybe it'll make me depressed. Maybe I'll get sad. Maybe I'll go eat some ice cream. So it's like your reaction to that trigger. It's really important to focus on that, because that's what, going back to what I was saying before, is that's where the danger lies, depending on if it's a negative reaction. Are you gonna, if someone dissed you or made you feel uncomfortable, are you gonna go self-harm and start cutting, or are you gonna be able to, do you have like a toolbox at the ready where you can like put on some music, smoke a joint, take a walk, if you are into that, take a walk, call a friend, a family member, like watch a movie, just something that I think just anyone dealing with triggers, it's really important to have a toolbox of sorts, just a little care kit, you know what I mean, of little things. And actually I learned that from a really good friend of mine, dealing with my depression, but also, sorry if this grosses anybody at JR, but dealing with my menstrual cycle, because I have really, really bad cramps. And I just remember texting a girlfriend of mine, and then all of a sudden the cramps started and I was dying. Like literally I can like be on the floor rolling. And she was like, girl, you ain't got your little package in your backpack ready to deal with, like, if A doesn't work, then you go to B, then you go to C. And it's the same thing with my depression. First the deep breathing, then the music, then a joint comes out, then I take a walk, then I watch some snowboarding video, whatever it is. But it's really important just having a little toolbox at the ready for whatever adversities you might face. I just so strongly believe in, I
like that. I've never actually like put it into perspective of having a necessary like a toolbox, using that like that physical description.
Yeah, for real.
But wow, that's I think that's something that I need to like create,
work on, practice,
because like I get annoyed a lot when women have narcissistic tendencies. That like sends me over, like I see red, like I
Can you be like more specific? Because it sounds like there's one specific, because that could be so broad. I mean, I'm probably doing something narcissistic.
What is it? Let's see. What's one that Onika does on a regular basis?
Oh my gosh! Of course he's gonna use me.
Of course, because you're the best example out there. What's one thing that you do that? I don't even know. Like what's something that you do that I the switch flips? Like there's a couple things.
There's so many things.
Yeah, so throw one out there and I'll explain it.
There is so many things. When I like spill something on his table, or when I touch his stuff, or
touching my stuff is because it goes back to childhood with you specifically.
Right, yeah.
I don't, because the way your sister did to you, you used to come to my house and do to me. So that's why I love that. That's payback. I love it.
Who's older between the two of you?
She's older.
Okay.
I'm older.
Okay. So she was the boss for a while.
Yeah.
She was the boss
I
for a
was
while.
the boss, and he grew. He caught up to me.
Because I realized she's nothing. She's smoke and mirrors.
No,
and that's
smoke and
it.
I have family members like that, or family member relationships that were like that too. Now it's like, what?
Yeah, get out of here. So that one, when you like do things where you're like spilling stuff on the floor, or you don't look where you're going,
or I don't look where I'm going,
like that stuff, like
things.
Like, so for example, like,
but is that narcissistic, or is that just
no? That one, that's not necessarily narcissistic.
No, the thing is, I don't walk in here like, I love myself. He's more narcissistic than I am, to be quite frank.
As you were kind of saying that, JR, happened.
He's more narcissistic than I am. Like, I'm so fresh, I'm so fine.
You know what? I learned those from my ex-wife. I learned all those qualities.
All the way down.
I learned all those qualities from her. Okay, I just learned that. yo, she was narcissistic, and I learned all those qualities from her, and I apply them to my life now, and they make me, they're amazing.
Right, right.
Like they're.
But you still want to hate on narcissistic
So let's
women.
talk about that, though. Obviously, your wife is, or your ex-wife, sorry, is probably where you kind of pull from when women
That's
act
his trigger.
narcissistic. Yeah,
That's
Oh,
his
that's-
biggest trigger.
If someone does something like she did that
Yeah,
annoys me,
exactly, yeah.
like you
I
might
know
not even.
that's like you're just like my wife.
Like you wouldn't even like it might be something little, but like for me, it's like I dealt with that bullshit, and it's like that's a trigger.
Right.
So like when
Yeah.
someone does something, like if I ask you a question and you, okay, if I say if we're hanging out and I say, you know what, are you hungry? And you say, yeah. I'm like, you want to grab some pizza? The thing that I mention first is what I want, right? So if you say, no, I don't really want any pizza, I'm like, all right, cool. What do you want? If you can't give me something there, that's going to annoy me. Like,
answer.
give me an answer.
Right,
Because
yeah.
I gave you an option,
Yeah.
you turned it down.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
give me something else now. And if you're going to sit there and look with the doe eyes, deer in headlights bullshit, like, I'm going to lose my mind. That look.
Ouch.
That look, that like.
better
that,
not be slipping around JR. You're gonna be
that,
all the way
no,
on point.
No, when women give you that, when women do something wrong or they make a mistake and they look at you like, who forgive me? Oh, that?
Yeah.
Oh, that like when you're a grown woman and you're trying to be a 6-year-old.
triggering.
Oh, whoa, that. So that's my trigger.
That's your
That's my
biggest
trigger. It's
trigger.
fine. That's my trigger. When
Yeah.
women try and give me those that I'm 6 years old. Look at me. Oh my god, I'm so
Right.
innocent.
Like,
oh,
help me.
Oh my
the
gosh.
emotions though that run through him, like they're so deep. Like I don't even know. It's sometimes like when he first like, because it's been a while since like the ex-wife has been out of your life, but
Okay.
those first few months it was like a minefield. Like I didn't know if I was stepping on like that. Cause he was triggered. Like
Yeah,
it was an
everything.
emotional.
Yeah.
It was a highly emotional time in his life,
Sure.
right?
Yeah.
You know, when I'm highly emotional in my life, like certain things will set me off and set those emotions going off
Into play.
going off wild,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And it's the, like you said, having that toolbox to kind of learn how to rein it in,
Right.
because there's
get
nothing
dangerous.
Yeah, it can get dangerous. It can get dangerous. It could lead to dangerous things
For other people and yourself.
yeah. So I try to keep my emotions always in check. Like I don't like being an angry person, or like when I get angry, it's like, oh my gosh, like I feel like my whole body feels like it's changing. So I don't like that emotion. Sadness I've learned to cope with over the years because
Teach me, girl.
we had our episode on seasonal affective disorder a couple weeks ago or last week, whenever was being taped, but yeah, I get really like during that winter season, I get so depressed and so sad
Right.
that like I've learned to cope with the emotion of sadness. And in my toolbox is things like therapy, going to class, because Gina-Simone and I are in a class together, a rap class.
Yes.
That's how we met.
Shout out to rap.
Shout out to
Wellness
rap.
recovery.
So, yeah. So like having that in my toolbox, you know, meeting new people, you know,
Absolutely.
connecting with my old friends, connecting with my mom every day, like sharing that I'm not feeling that great
Right.
with, you know, JR, whoever, you know, it
me.
may be with you.
Yeah.
So, you know, getting those emotions out of my system.
Absolutely.
Instead of
So
holding them
cathartic.
on, holding on to them and keeping
They're, like,
them all
poisoning
in.
you from the inside
from
out.
inside out. That's what it feels like is happening. So the only emotion I like to subscribe to when I can is happiness.
Hells yeah, give a shout out for happiness.
So I figured I'm thinking, sitting here, I'm like, what's in my box?
Right.
Yoga's in my box.
Yoga's in
every
your
day,
toolbox.
every
Yeah.
morning,
Yoga's-
every day,
yogi.
every day, every day.
Excellent.
Like that's because it's like one of those things where you're like, everyone's positive energy,
100%.
and it's like there's no negative energy there.
By the end of it, everything is shed.
Yeah,
Like, and all
yeah.
you're like vibrating, and your whole mind
yeah.
focus is switched. That's a great.
Yeah, I come
Great
home and I'm
tool.
like, just it's
Zen.
good. Let's get this going.
Yeah,
Like,
in bliss.
so yeah, that's triggers.
Yeah. But another thing I wanted to get into is some self-talk. Because we talked about triggers, we talked about coping, but what about that self-talk piece that can come into it?
Exactly. And I mean, the self-talk itself can be a trigger.
It's
And
there you
Well,
go.
my self-talk, I guess I'll just do because mine's quick.
Yeah, yours is quick,
Mine's
so
quick.
you
So
gotta
for
just get
self-talk
through
for
it.
me, mine actually, I took on narcissistic qualities of my ex-wife in order to boost my self-talk and my personal self-image. So when I took yoga classes, for the first 3 months, I would go right in the front of the class and do yoga right in front of the mirror. So no matter what, when I look up, I have to look at myself and be like, you're beautiful, you're pretty. And I would just do that for 3 months just so I would build my own self-confidence. So that was like my personal self-talk.
That's
That's
incredible.
good.
Like someone was telling me they did that the other day, that it was you.
Yeah.
That you see, you're in the mirror. And like, I don't know why I find that such a hard thing to do. I know that I need to do that. I need to look in the mirror and just like think I'm Beyonce, but I feel narcissistic doing that. I don't know what my problem is, but I feel like, what are you really trying to do here? Like, you know what I mean? Which is horrible, which is negative self-talk.
Yeah, which is really negative self-talk. But you had said something to me the other day about, is your mind full or are you being mindful?
Right.
So I wanted to talk about mindfulness when it comes to that was bars. Gina-Simone got the bars, my friend.
That was good.
Like,
Well,
she
you know.
is bringing the
I'm sitting here
deepness.
like, okay.
I had to write it down. Like, she was bringing the deepness the other day when we chilled. It was really fun time. We
That
talked
was
about
good.
a lot of things that
was a
day.
good conversation.
But it was a good conversation. But I wanted to have that conversation with you because I know you took a mindfulness class, I think, the other day. You said,
it
or
was
today
actually,
or whenever
it was just actually yesterday. Yeah, and it was mindfulness. Well, you're mindful and mindfulness meditation. So you're mindful of continuous negative thoughts, self-harming thoughts, just thoughts that aren't going to move you in the right direction, and being mindful. So where are those negative self-talks coming from? Are they triggers? Is there triggers associated with those negative self-talks? Again, it's almost like going to that toolbox when the negative self-talk happens, and that is your mind full of negativity starts to happen, and being mindful of, okay, well, what can I do now that I just told myself I look like shit, I'm fat, and I don't want to go outside. But I really need to go outside so I can go study, so I can get my life, whatever it is. But go to your toolbox and start thinking, well, why am I thinking this? Who am I really worried about? It's going to judge me because I'm fat, or whatever it is. And really just asking what brought your mental state to that point, almost like getting ahead of it. Getting ahead of it and trying to figure out, like, where is it coming from? Why? And why is it so important to me? Why can't I just say, yes, I'm Beyonce. I'm going to get up like J.R., look at myself, tell myself I look like $1 million and get out the door. Like, where does that come from? And
I think it's like I think it could be low self-esteem, a lot 100%. Of it. There's a lot of people that have really, really, be it because of their mental health issues, feeling that they can't face those challenges, they can't face the world, they can't, they have no one to talk to, so bad circumstances.
Getting out of toxic relationships.
Yeah, toxic relationships, shady past, like, there's so many things, not feeling worthy at the end of the day. For me, I know my positive self-talk didn't start till I was like 30.
Right.
Like, and I still am negative towards myself when it comes to things like my weight. Like, I'm like,
started.
I'll give myself attitude about my weight. Like, I'm on the scale every single morning. Like, oh, I lost a pound. Like, I get so excited. Like, but like, I'm negative. I can be negative about that. But like, most of the time, I would say I have like I'm strong positive self-talk. Like, I'm lovely. I'm beautiful. I'm smart. I'm intelligent. Like, I'm all those things. I'm funny. Like, JR doesn't think I'm that funny, but I'm not. I'm funny. I'm a good person. I care about people. Like, all the good things in your life. It's like having, and I hate to use this like term, but like having an attitude of gratitude. You hear that all the time in like the rooms and like, groups.
You need to be grateful.
I've never heard that before.
You've never heard of attitude. You've never been in one of the rooms. Like, I used to go to AA and NA and CA, and that's a place where the negative self-talk is so
rampant,
real. It's rampant, right?
And
they're struggling, and Alcoholics Anonymous, Narcotics Anonymous, and Cocaine's Anonymous. I wasn't really needing to, like, I only went there to kind of, again, like, find myself, like, find
any positive,
where that place was that was going to lift me out from that negative place. So I used to go to that, like, years and years ago. I had a sponsor. I did the big book. I did all of that. And one of the things they always used to say, and we had to do at the end of every, like, 1 hour, like, meeting, was to say something that we were grateful for and have, like, an attitude of gratitude. And it took a lot of people to say something positive about their lives or about themselves. Like, it's very, very challenging.
So I'm gonna go up right now and say, Gina-Simone, what is something you're grateful for?
Honestly, being here, being able to come out of so I've been dealing with a lot of depression, anxiety lately, just feeling a sense of I've lost myself a little bit at, where I am in my life. I'm completely grateful, actually. I'm not working at the moment, which is a blessing, 100% blessing. I had a corporate job. I was making lovely money, but I love having this time to take to.
Oh, you and I have a lot in common.
We'll talk after. But just having this time just to center myself spiritually, where I'm at. I'm 35 years old right now. And I just feel like,
you don't look it. Congratulations.
Thank you. You're getting points there. But just where I'm at in life, and I'm just so grateful to have met Onika and be on this platform talking about mental health, talking to our sisters and brothers out there about shedding that stigma. And coming forth, and that is how you overcome. Just us sharing our stories, releasing the poison that's leaching from the inside out. And so just grateful to be here, grateful to have the experiences that I've had in the last 5 months, and just grateful to kind of be getting back to myself and just being wild and crazy and kind of not giving a fuck. Excuse my language, but
don't worry, I say the F word all the time.
Yeah, just it's funny. I've heard a lot of quotes. People go back to their 15-year-old self. When people come to a fork in the road and they kind of feel like they've lost themselves.
You know what's crazy? I am now doing everything that I wanted to do as a 14, 15-year-old kid. I'm living it down to the detail.
Homie, me too. Give me that. Yes, no, me too.
It's amazing.
I'm skateboarding. I have 2 skateboards now. I bought a snowboard. I'm just doing all of these things that when I was 14 and 15 years old, for some reason I just wasn't able to. Or I thought, I'm a black girl and
she's a black snowboarder.
So I wanted to surf. So I went surfing last year, right now. This time last year. That was
surfing is next for me. I'm outboard sports all the way.
You gotta do it.
Sorry, where did you go?
I went to Nicaragua last year. I was down there for a minute. Down there, I was surfing it
San
up.
Juan del Sur.
Where was I? I was in the north.
San Juan del Sur.
Maybe I was in the north coast. I was overlooking Venezuela. It was pretty cool. I don't know.
Oh my! I was actually supposed to go to Nicaragua. Then that protest literally started popped off. People started dying 2 days before I was supposed to leave.
Oh no!
I ended up staying up all night the day I'm supposed to leave, just trying to contemplate: do I go? Do I not go? It ended up an hour before my flight. I just canceled everything. I was I'm not gonna.
See, go. I went down there. There was some stuff going on last year, but still once you're down there, nothing.
I know, but you know what? It's crazy because I still ended up going to Central America. I went to Guatemala, and so I met a lot of people who were doing the whole route. So going to Nicaragua, everyone was staying away. I met this little 19-year-old girl named Leonie. What up, Leonie? I'm gonna make you listen to this just because I'm shouting you out. And she continued on to Nicaragua. She was fearless, and I was kind of how's this girl, 19, and I took all the precautions. But crazy. She ended up going down there because she had everything was cheap. So her Spanish lessons were even cheaper because of the protests. Everyone's getting out of there. But she ended up staying for 4 days, and she messaged me. She's like, it's a good thing you didn't come. It's way too dangerous. I met up with some other Germans and we're leaving tomorrow. Wow. And so it really is at a point now. Okay. But surfing was my next thing. I was going to Nicaragua. I was like, all right, got the snowboard, skateboard, surf, Nicaragua. But it didn't happen. I'm
trying to hit Bali next for surfing. Yeah.
Okay, take me with your travel plans. You guys are just having this side conversation with
That's another show.
And you said something that was really interesting just now. Your brothers and sisters, because Gina-Simone is black. She's Jamaican. And I wanted to talk about the self-talk, I think, of our brothers and sisters. Of our black brothers and sisters. What I find black people to be very confident.
They are.
I find them to be very confident, but do you think that's a ruse? Do you think that we too have that?
I think there's a subconscious self-consciousness, a subconscious self-consciousness. And my mom has a good analogy on that. She says, so I don't know about you, girl, but I have a hard time with a black man, no shade, J.R., in this city treating women, just my past experience, like shit. And my mother has this analogy, and I'm saying all that very loosely, but that black men self-consciously have always been fighting this barrier of...
Oh, can we have this conversation right now? Because I can go all in right now.
Where we have time. Let her finish what she's saying.
Go ahead.
But are you constantly fighting this barrier from day one? Subconsciously, though. You know what I mean? In school, at your neighbors, at the Boys and Girls Club, wherever you are in society, constantly fighting. So it builds up this chip on their shoulder that bleeds out into those that they love. And I think that's where that attitude, that kind of treat you like shit, it's all about me because I've been hard done by, but it's a subconscious, I think, decision. I've kind of seen, situations like that I can sort of profess too, but and maybe I'm sort of being vague about that, but
I think a lot of it stems from single parent children growing up in single parent households. And then if you want to take a step back further, I've done this. I think we've talked about this in the podcast in the past. But if you go back to slavery, right? Like black women were responsible for taking care of everybody.
Right.
You know, the black men were emasculated, and the black women had to be in charge, and they had to take care of their sons to make sure they didn't get beat, their daughters didn't get raped. So black women
and the slave owners' kids.
they were breastfeeding all the white kids as well. So I mean, you have black women that are so strong and so powerful, and then
so positive too.
I'll leave that. Fine, you said it, not me. But you have black women that are up here, and then you have black men that are trying to be masculine, but black women are so powerful and so strong that no matter what, you constantly are aggressive towards men. You're never submissive, because you say that, hey, I can't be submissive to this man until a man is better than me. But how many black men out there are putting themselves in positions where they are going to be in better positions than a lot of black women? Because black women are right now the most educated group of people out there, like growing education wise. I know I've gone into positions in offices where, you know, there are some black women that are getting positions now that are like, yes, you go girl.
100%.
But in the day when that woman is in that position now, she's not looking for some dude that has nothing. She's looking for a guy that is going to help her elevate, or she's looking for a guy that she can elevate. So he's got to be in a position.
And that's her self-talk.
And that's her self-talk. But she's got to look for a guy she's looking for a guy that's in that realm. So now you're not going to have a large group, a pool of men to look for or to have around at that time. I'm going off on a tangent now. So
No, I'm just wondering, are you
back.
saying that positive, but are you saying that because black women, let's say in the case of black women, they have positive self-talk, that their male counterparts have negative self-talk because they've made them that way? I'm saying
your positive self-talk is so positive and so powerful that you believe it, which you should. But the challenge is when a brother comes up to you and is talking to you now, steps to you, you're like, yo, bro, you're not talking to me like the way at the level that I need to be spoken to, right?
I get what you're saying. I think it's also a generational thing, but I think we can't blanket everyone like that, because then I like stand firmly at my stance where, and again, it's a generational thing. I think you're in like your late 20s, right?
That's cute. That's so cute.
Oh, sorry, am I wrong?
I'm 33. That's cute. That's cute.
You're in your late 20s, right?
I'm in my late 20s. I'm in my 20s, but you don't know what you're talking about. You're in your late 20s.
No, I'm not at all trying to say you don't know.
I'm just playing.
I don't know. I just think back to like men older than myself, so like in their 40s or later 30s. And, you know, growing up, I know my mom told me this: you have to be better than the white kids. You have to study twice as hard.
That's the self-talk. That was the
self-talk.
We
all got that. We all got that.
And I just think that subconsciously hardens, especially boys and girls, but boys. So then they constantly, and the easiest person to hurt usually tends to be someone that you love or someone in your corner. So I think that subconsciously that, you know, some men don't want to have that be building up those walls and those barriers, and I have to be better. I know that was actually negative for me, constantly feeling like I had to push and I couldn't just be comfortable and still in my own righteousness. Like I just feel like I've seen that negatively affect our brothers. Maybe it's the truth. I think it's different for
it's the truth. When your parents said to you, have to be better than the white kids, that was a fact, and that was the truth. Because you know what? I always strive to be better than all those white kids, because I knew that, you know what? I don't have an uncle or an aunt that's going to be able to get me in that job.
Yeah.
I got to prove myself.
Absolutely.
So when it comes down to
so harmful though, because it's great for someone like you, but for someone who just thinks, oh man, life should just be hunky-dory. Why can't I just be myself and by my own good graces? And maybe that's a little bit naive, but by my own, just what I naturally have to bring to the table. Why can't that catapult me into success? Why is it a fight? Why does it have to be a fight?
I understand what you're saying in the sense that, like, as a woman, you know, I grew up with the same conversation with my parents. You have to be twice as good as the white man. You have to, you know, you grow up, get a house, get a husband, perform, you know, have a kid. Like, so growing up, like, especially like in my teen years going into my university years, I didn't have that time to start rejigging that self-talk until I was away from that environment, my family's environment. So I went into school, my dad said, go to law, be a lawyer. So I started off, you know, journalism and then law and then, and I ended up having to eventually say to myself, this is not what I want to do. Like, I am an artist. I love to write. I love to do the A, B, and C, D things that don't fall under the category of being, sure, I'll do it if you want me to do it 3 or 10 times better than the white man, that's fine, but not necessarily in the environment in which the government job environment or the corporate job environment that would make that the people in that environment proud. So I had to change my self-talk to be like, listen, what do you want out of your life? What do you want for yourself?
But even once you figure out what you want, you still got to do it better than any white person that's doing
this
it.
This is true.
Amen.
For sure.
It's
just coming to that on your own, from who you are from the inside, not what society, what the man is
or
just sort of pushing down on you that you need to be. You need to fit this mold. And I just feel like that's so detrimental, and it's been detrimental to our brothers and sisters out there. Like, those white kids aren't, if anything, their parents are telling them to like be even more negative to the minorities. And
but the difference is, when you're a white person, all you have to do is get a haircut, put on a suit, and you're good to go.
You're good to go.
Right? Like, so
it's the same in school. It's the same, unfortunately, in the workplace. And can I even say, I hate calling people of color or ethnic people minority, even though I just did. There's nothing minor about that. I just hate the word minor in that, and that we have accepted to be called a minority. The other race is the minority, frankly, compared to all of us colored people out there. I just had to throw that in because that's something I had to correct myself from saying minority.
True, yeah. Oh.
Sort of off topic, sorry.
That's okay. That's okay. But, so how do we change the negative into the positive? Like, how do we change... Maybe JR, you can speak to this because you have like super positive self-talk. Have you ever had a time in your life where you found yourself going down a negative road and you had to kind of like turn around and be like, Gerks, like, no, this is not the road I want to be going down. I need to...
You're like setting me up here. You're like, Julian, talk about your marriage. So it's like right after I got married, that's when my skin started turning white, right? So that's when I started having to make changes in my life. Stress, right? So I started looking, okay, I have to start making changes in my life. I think something's not right. And I went through, changing my diet, adjusting my job, changing how I work out. And I made all the changes in my life except for getting rid of the person that I was with. And eventually it came down to, I'm happy when I'm not with this person. This person doesn't make me happy. This person is a negative person. This person's a hater. They are all these negative things about people that I said I never wanted to be with. This person possesses all those qualities. Wow. So this says that I made a bad judgment call, and it was more like looking at yourself and saying, you made a mistake. Where'd I go wrong? This is where I went wrong. Okay, how do I fix this? And for me, the challenge a long time was I didn't want to get divorced. So it was like, how do you fix this? Well, you have to work on it, So I went all in, put my all hands on deck. I went in. At the same time, she was like, I'm gonna run around and give my pussy to every other guy I can give it to.
Oh dear.
So,
So at that same time, it's just like, okay, am I gonna be some beta male that's gonna sit back and have their wife run around like some whore and then just accept it when they come home? That's not who I am. That's not the person that my father raised, right? So it's like, no, you got to get out. This person, toxic, get them out. Throw them to the curb, and that's what happened, right? Like, so I had to, you just got to get all the negative people out of your life, negative influences, people out of your life. So if drugs are a bad thing for you, then don't surround yourself with drugs. And if you have friends that do drugs, unfortunately, you're gonna have to get rid of those friends, so you got to do what's best for you at the end of the day. And sometimes that is walking away from everything. Like, I walked away just over a year and 3 months ago from every person I know, my job, walked away from everything, all friends, everything.
It was crazy. I was
everything.
there for this
like
whole
thing.
It was super crazy.
Every single person. The only person that I kept in my life is Onika and people in my family. That's it. Like, and there's a couple friends, Paul and Evangeline. There's a couple of people that I kept in my life. But other than that, like, I walked away from everything.
I'm going through the exact same thing.
And you know what was cool thing about it is, fast forward a year, I've created new social circles with people that have like-minded thoughts like me, positive people. Like, I do things that I enjoy. So I think getting to the point where you do things that you enjoy. So like for me, as a kid, I loved dodgeball. It's weird, it's wild, but what did I do? I joined a dodgeball league as an adult, right? So that's fun. Like, that's something that I do that it reminds me of being a kid. I have a great time. And there's people that are doing it. Everyone in there, none of us are, the most athletic people or are there to win a championship. We're there just to like be social,
But
have a
that's not
good
what it's
time,
about, yeah.
you know,
Yes.
and just, you know, throw a ball around. You know, you hit someone in the head, you say sorry, let's have a beer. You know, like, so I think it's just a matter of putting yourself in a position where you eliminate all the negative things from your life.
The negative things, the negative
And that can be a
people.
challenge. I mean, cutting off friendships that have been there for so long. And again, like going back to what I was saying earlier, is sometimes you do have to cut. So I'm in the exact same boat. I've cut off a lot of people. Anyone of my friends listening knows, like, you haven't heard a text or call from me in a long time. But it's just something that you kind of have to do, like just wipe the slate clean. And I think it goes back to it being about me, not them. And just cleaning house for yourself and kind of reflecting on and kind of reorganizing your thoughts, your life, who you're going to be, who you want to be, and not kind of going with who you're expected to be, who you're supposed to be. I was telling a woman, and we were talking about this earlier yesterday, who, you know, she's ladened into the whole drug scene, and she's in a really toxic relationship, and she didn't know how to leave her partner because she's fearful that if she leaves him, he could overdose. She said she's experienced that in the past before, and so she's worried about that. And I said, but no one's going to get better in the way it is. You've stayed for this long, and you're still obviously using drugs and codepending on each other, and you need to, it's like the oxygen mask theory that we were talking about in a plane. It's like, put that oxygen mask over yourself first, and then the other person. You need to think about yourself first. You can't love someone else if you can't love yourself. And going back to just toolbox things that we use as coping mechanisms, and I was telling you this the other day, is I had to. There was a time, I'm at a point right now where different triggers and I'm just having different triggers are coming out of me, different reactions that I never used to have before. So I found myself at a really negative place, and I knew I needed to fix it, and then I would literally start to fake smiles just because it would kind of get the ball rolling. Like, okay, now I'm smiling. Okay, maybe I'm laughing at myself because I'm forcing myself to smile, and it really does. It's like laughing. It really does help, but faking that smile, as awkward as it may seem, maybe you can do it alone in a mirror, but that kind of little things like that, just to start flicking the switch from those negative thoughts and
Negative self-talk. For me, it's not about just letting go of people from your life. It's who you invite back into your life when you have that new open space.
Absolutely.
You know, I heard I had a sponsor at Al-Anon, which is, you know, for family members of alcoholics, tell me, you know, you got to deal with what's in your hula hoop, and you got to be careful of what you invite into your hula hoop.
100%.
Right? You know, so if you're inviting positive people into your life, they're going to reinforce that positive self-talk. You know, they're going to, if you can't say it for yourself, isn't it always very shocking when someone makes like a positive observation about you that you never knew about yourself? Like,
And you're taken aback.
and you're
like,
taken aback, like, whoa, are you talking about me? Like, is that me that you're talking about? Like, I feel that all the time. Like, I find that, especially in this area, this time right now, I tend to get a little bit more negative. So when someone says something like really positive about me, I'm just like, whoa, like, you know what, that person's talking about me. And if they can see that in me, I need to learn to see that in myself. Right. And I need to learn to, you know, talk to myself every day and say things that are going to make me well and feel better and not feel low and not feel down. So I think it's about also who you invite into your life. And, you know, we talked about some of the strategies that you could use to cope with yourself, or to sort of deal with your self-talk. You know, positive affirmations, you know, positive YouTube videos.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Setting
Ralph
the settings. Ralph Smart. Yeah, you showed me Ralph Smart.
Everybody go check out Ralph Smart.
Australian
Ralph Smart?
guy, yeah.
I think he's British, and he's
British
living
or
in
something. He's
living in LA.
weird.
He's a motivational speaker, and he's got his own little twerks, or about, is that the right word? Twerks? No, it's not.
Quirks.
Quirks. Yeah.
Twerks is not the right word. We don't twerk on this show. There'll be no twerking.
And Ralph Smart is not twerking, trust you me.
He's quirking.
He's quirking. He's got his little quirks, and he's got his little catchphrases, but when you sort of let those fall away, he really is making good points.
Has a deeper message. I was focused. I was listening when you showed me the videos.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so
Check
you
him
know,
out.
like
Check him out.
Tony Robinson, like all the
Yeah.
goodies,
Oh, it's like,
all
okay.
the oldies but goodies.
Okay.
Like,
He's
he's like a
Yeah,
modern
Tony,
day.
like, I got a love-hate relationship with Tony. Like, he's the guy. He's the man.
but
He's the man, but I'm like, Tony.
You feel like secretly he's a dick. Like in
Yeah,
real
that's
life.
like, you know what?
what I mean?
Yeah, I
Like,
haven't
you
gotten
think
too much
he's a
into him,
dick.
but I do feel those vibes.
Like,
I feel that
Actually.
dick
Yeah.
vibe.
I feel like,
Tony
like when he's backstage, he's like, yo, I gotta do another one of these things.
I know.
Fuck these
Like,
people, man.
Did you see that
Oh,
crowd
I hate
out there?
this.
And then he goes, he's like, hey guys, I'm here. Are you feeling powerful today?
I'm feeling powerful
You know,
today. Like it feels fraudy. I've never watched a full Tony Robinson video because it feels so fraudulent.
But you know what? He
Like-
does. But I've met people that, you know what? He has empowered a lot of people, and so he's doing something positive.
He
and you
is.
can't knock a man.
He's making his paper. Like
Yeah.
let him make
But
his paper.
he's still helping people. Like
He helps people.
He probably came from a good place, but like
Right.
I've been a
I don't know
DJ
his
in the
history.
past,
I don't know his
and when you're
history.
doing the same
So,
thing every
yeah,
night, overnight,
repetitively,
repetitively,
yeah.
like it gets to a point where you're like.
Yeah, you check out.
You check
kinda.
out. Like, I
You're
mean,
just
even me, like, doing open mics, like, there's some jokes that I do every single open mic, and when I get to it, I'm like,
You're like, ugh,
I know
here
it's
we go
funny.
again.
Yeah.
I know it's
It's
super
gonna get a
funny,
reaction,
but, like, I've done this so many times that, like, okay, forget it. Like,
Forget it.
You know,
your vigor's like not in the delivery anymore.
Yeah.
Because it's just kind of, yeah.
so,
Yeah,
But
so like things like that. I think motivational
Yeah.
conversations with people, just
Even the getting rid of the cell phone, the social media, and
The
not sleeping,
news.
the news, not sleeping next to your cell phone. Not your cell phone or laptop shouldn't even be in reach. When it's bedtime, it's bedtime. When you awake, allow yourself some time just to take in your space. One thing that I try and do every morning is as soon as I open my eyes, I take 5 deep, extremely deep breaths. So 5 deep breaths, then I say some positive things that I want to accomplish for the day, and then I say what I'm grateful for, so what I take gratitude in, and just try and continue that with whatever positive thoughts I need to do, and then I kind of slowly get out of bed. I've heard people, they say they don't check their phone for like 15 minutes.
I'm 2 hours.
Good.
Like,
There you
when
go. I know
out.
15 minutes. I'm like,
No.
but yeah, little things like that. But those 5 deep breaths in the morning, and then trying to align just trying to align any positive things that you want to try and accomplish that day, even if whether you accomplish them or not. But just setting yourself up in your head
for success.
Yeah, for a positive day, that really can help. But the deep breathing goes back to the mindfulness. Yeah, it's all good. It's all really positive.
Okay. Well, that has been the dish of the day. Gina-Simone.
Already, guys, I'm just getting comfortable.
Already?
I
Are you
loved
just getting
it.
comfortable?
I am.
Which means you have to come back.
I
We gotta
hope
do this
so.
again.
Come
Thank
back
you.
for another one. Thank
I
you
would
for
love to.
bringing in a third perspective into the conversation. We
I
always
like this.
appreciate
I
that.
really like this, like having a third perspective. Because you and I kind of like, Onika, we have
We'll just
sometimes,
like banter back and forth.
but sometimes we have similar perspectives.
Yeah.
Because you
like,
know each other.
we know each other.
We know
and
each other so well.
So sometimes, but it's really
good
nice to have.
this that extra commentator.
Well, it's been an honor, an absolute pleasure. I really appreciate it.
Thanks
Is
for
there
coming.
anyone you want to shout out to?
I want to shout out just to all the positive people that have been in my life in the past few months, going through this journey of self-healing and self-recognition. Onika, you, J.R., it's a pleasure to bring you into my life now too, just off of this. And anyone listening who does know me, I'm just grateful for the time and patience that you give me whenever we do connect, and yeah, know that love is there. So just grateful for every moment that I have now on this earth. Yeah,
That's beautiful.
life can be taken so easily. So
That's beautiful.
and I want to just actually shout out my dear friend Alia Jada. It was her birthday a few days ago, and she passed away in 2015. So she's top of mind lately, and she's another person who could have benefited, I think, really so much just off of things that you and I are doing and getting involved in. She sadly passed away from a drug overdose in 2015. It wasn't exactly a drug overdose, but drugs were shutting down her system, and she ended up passing away. So she's sort of a constant reminder to constantly stay positive, stay focused, and try not to slip too far, and have your toolbox at bay, ready to go. But no, thank you guys so much.
I feel like we should like put a portion of the website saying toolbox, and then like have like a bunch of. When everyone comes in, gives an idea of what like their benefit of the
like
tools
a
that they,
comment?
and we can just kind of like start listing the tools that other people are
Tools that
using,
people are
Make it
using. I
really
like that
interactive.
and like
idea.
have an ongoing list, and like so anyone
I
can
like that idea.
add.
We'll work on it together.
I'm
Sounds
excited.
good.
I like
We'll
that.
work on it together.
Put that on
and
there.
then
So
we'll,
when
like,
everyone comes on the show, we can like, what's part of your toolbox? So
Yeah.
kind of help everybody else. So you can go on the website, take a look, and see what other people are using, and maybe you can try and
I
incorporate
like
that into
that
your
idea.
life.
make it
Let's
more
put out into the
interactive.
universe. So, JR, please tell them how they can reach Gina-Simone or myself or yourself to make any comments about this episode
definitely.
or any other episodes, or if you just want to say what up, tell them how they can reach us.
Definitely. You can reach us at Dysh, DYSH, at daintydysh.com. That's DAINTYDYSH.com. You can check Onika out on her website, onikadainty.com. She's got some writing on there.
Yes, I put up some new stuff.
Yeah.
Yes, I put up my journal entry number 12, 11 or 12, and then I put up a blog post. I can't remember what it's called at this very second.
Why
but it's
didn't
up
report?
there.
Is it the why didn't?
The why didn't report one, but then there's another one up there on my writing. Yeah,
It's because she's writing them all and then just posting them as you go.
As I go.
But anyway, so you can check out more stuff on her website. If you want to check her out on Instagram, it's Best of Onika. If you want to check her out on Twitter, like the newfound Onika on Twitter, it's Onika Dainty. At Onika Dainty, right? That's correct.
Yep, at Onika Dainty.
All right, and so if you're listening to us on Apple Podcasts,
give us 5, you deserve 5.
Thank you so much for listening. We truly appreciate you for listening to us on any other platform, YouTube, SoundCloud, you name it. We truly appreciate it. We love the feedback. We haven't answered any emails because we haven't gotten any since that last one. But, if you have any questions, feel free to, send them to us. We'll bring them up on the show. And maybe we'll have another guest here that can give a perspective. I mean, the last time we had a pretty cool perspective of someone that was in the church that gave it a perspective of mental health in the Black community and how interracial dating, and that was kind of like
that was interesting.
Interesting comment that we had on that one. So yeah, it was pretty cool. But that's it for me. I'm done rambling.
All right.
If I can interject, I have a SoundCloud. I make music.
Oh, yeah.
So we never mentioned your music.
That's okay.
We will be putting the
show.
SoundCloud link in our...
I gotta send that to you. But my SoundCloud is Might of Sky. So that analogy is like strength from above, but it's MIGHTOFSKYE. So sky with an E on the end. That's my SoundCloud. And I have a YouTube channel. It's my studio, my home studio. It's Arrow Sound Music. And I'm actually working on right now an EP of songs sort of talking about depression, sort of just freeing out your emotions. So hopefully, people
we're
can
gonna
relate to that.
Send me the information. We're gonna throw that in the link in the description.
Thank you.
So check that out. Please give some feedback. I'm pretty sure Gina would love it. So let's please just listen to that YouTube. Check out the SoundCloud.
I've heard some of the songs. They're amazing.
Thank
beats.
you,
I love them. But that, as I said, has been the dish of the day, and I hope y'all have yourselves a very, very, very happy hump day.
Ooh.